Hello everybody, it's Naomi Pabst here. Today I am going to be talking about power, how to be empowered, and the fact that we all have tremendous power. How do we tap into our personal power? So there's the wielding of power in our world, right? Influence and impact, asserting our energy in the world around us. But there's also just the being of our power, the electromagnetism that emanates from us, right? Is that dialed up? Are we plugged into our personal power, our magnetism? So, how do we plug in to our personal power? The first thing we do is we acknowledge we have power. We're kind of indoctrinated into thinking we don't have power, like we're victims of circumstance and life happens to us. But the truth is life happens through us. We're co-creating these destinies of ours. We are in the driver's seat of our lives. We just don't realize how that's the case. So the first thing is to acknowledge that we have power, to understand that every one of us on this planet, no matter our circumstances, has tremendous power within ourselves. So it's the power of the fact that we are seeds of divinity. Each one of us has that. We all share that in common. It's almost like being sourced from the same place, right? Sharing the same source. So perhaps we're like sun rays emanating off the same sun. That, regardless then of the circumstances of that ray, gives us the power of the sun. So we have this power that we generally don't realize or acknowledge. And we ascribe power to other people. Maybe it's the leaders or the boss types, but there are many different ways of wielding power, right? There are the pioneers and the trailblazers. There's that kind of power. There's the rugged individualists defying social scripts and codes. There's a power in that. There's a power in just seeing beyond what's readily accepted, the power to read between the lines, and the power to defy and cultivate an oppositional stance. And then, yes, there's the power to wield power and to influence and impact our environment in the more, stereotypical mode of bosses and leaders and people who show up in that sort of way that we ascribe as having power. But the truth is we all have our own versions of power, just as we are. So our truest and deepest source of power is our authenticity. The more plugged in and keyed into our own personal authenticity we are, the more impact we have, the more influence we have, the more sway we have, the more sort of the ability to manifest, to magnetize and draw to us effortlessly and organically that which we're wishing to experience. So when we're plugged into our power, aka plugged into our truth and our authenticity and even our greatness, right? Being our best selves and our truest selves, right? Bartering to be authentic and be our best. That's the seat of our power. That's the ultimate source of power. So back to the inherent intrinsic power within us. We have this diamond-like essence, right? Our souls are infinitely powerful. We all have a soul, and the soul is the strongest, sort of most defining, most powerful part of who we are. So when we key into our soul, we dial into some superpowers, we could call them, right? The superpowers of intuition or knowing, right? Knowing with a capital K, knowing things that would otherwise seemingly be impossible to know, but that becomes a norm. It becomes a norm to know things that would be seemingly impossible to know, because we all have the power to do that, right? We're all operating infinitely below our potential. We all have inner whispers we can listen to. We all have external whispers whispering to us, coming from divinity, coming from the quantum sphere, coming from cosmic consciousness, guidance, powerful guidance that gives us this power if we listen to it, if we heed it, like high beam headlights on our life's road, or like wind in our sails, right? Like a compass guiding us on our life path, right? Usually we're sort of operating with our hands tied and with blindfold on, totally unnecessarily. And those are some of the things that unplug us from the power that's possible for us. So again, plugging into our authenticity, our truest truth, and our greatest greatness is an incredible source of power. Now again, the power that I'm talking about here is about our kind of, we could call it our electromagnetic frequency, our energetic signature. Like, how high are we vibrating, right? How conscious are we? How plugged in to our highest possible frequency, right? Again, it's like our energy, our magnetism carries tremendous power. And the courage to be who we really are in the face of social, cultural expectations and the expectations of the arena around us is where our power lies. The more willing we are to be who we truly are, even in the face of what people are saying, or even in the face of other people's ideas of what we should be doing, what we should be thinking, how we should be conducting our lives. All of that is the true source of our power. So, again, we are these powerful diamonds that get mud and debris caked on us. So just owning and remembering that we are a diamond within ourselves. The core essence of us is diamond-like in all of its sheen and shine and value and clarity and pristineness, perfection, strength, everything that a diamond represents at its most positive is what we are within ourselves. And sometimes we have to do some healing, some detoxing, some rinsing off, some purification, right? We need to wash off the diamond and get the sort of mud and debris off of it. But therein lies our power. The power is already there. Now, some of us may feel that socio-cultural forces have caused our diamonds to go sort of mute or, to be dulled, dulled and impacted and calcified, but it's still just up to us to detox the diamond, to detox and to purify and to wash and rinse and, get into our shine and our radiance and our, again, personal power. The diamond within us, the diamond that we are at core, every one of us, is the source of our power. It's the source of our true power. So how do we embody power in the world, in terms of then the wielding of it, right? Well, first of all, it's a matter of that much maligned trait called self-importance, okay? We want to turn that around and exit it from the realm of arrogance and cockiness and entitlement and anything negative we might associate with self-importance. We want to shift that into literally the willingness to place importance on ourselves, to honor that we do have tremendous power and that we are important and that we matter, and we matter tremendously. So if we matter, then our choices matter, and our choices we make on a day-to-day basis impact us and impact others. So it's the choice around how we show up in the world, the energetic state we're embodying, the emotional state we're embodying. Are we emitting toxic energy into the environment or detoxed energy, right? Pure energy. Are we, contributing uplift and positivity? Doesn't have to be 24/7, but kind of as a default setting. What's your contribution? What's your signature contribution to the world around you? Is it negative? And it's really about your energy. What you say and do is nothing compared to who you are, right? Your power lies in who you are, and it's above all what's emanating from you sort of on the cellular level, on the electromagnetic level, on the level of your personal frequency. So to dial up your personal power is to really raise your frequency as high as you possibly can. So we want to wash off the diamond, but we also want to, we want to also make conscious choices as to how we're showing up in the world. We want to kind of put ourselves on the A-list, and I don't mean the celebrity A-list, I mean kind of the spiritual A-list. We want to know our value. We want to ascribe ourselves that value, right? The A-list is something we ourselves feel worthy of. We ascertain that we ourselves are worthy of A-list status within ourselves, right? So that we stop seeking outside of ourselves for external validation. That's one really important route to power, is that we stop seeking acknowledgement and validation from any other people. Sure, it's nice to get validation. It's wonderful to get praise and positive reinforcement from other people. That includes even systems and, societal backdrops. We don't need the validation of the world around us to plug into our power. We have to bequeath that unto ourselves. We must bequeath our power. We must step into our power. We must own our power. So another way that we can step into our power is through the ability to say no, okay? The ability to say no is another way to honor our authenticity. Just be authentic about whether something is a no or a yes, and don't pander and please and do things to impress people or to make other people happy or to do other people's bidding, thinking that's going to give you some kind of a status, social status or indebtedness. Just honor your authenticity, and you can do it by plugging into your emotional repertoire. Does this feel a yes? Is this a hell yeah within yourself, right? So when other people show up to make a request of you, you stay in your power. First of all, you don't feel burdened by the fact that they made that request, right? Many of us, if we're not in our power, feel burdened when people make requests of us because we're not empowered to say no. So we feel resentful that someone even asked. Just be in your power and say an empowered no or yes. Don't resent the question. Just be a match. Be up for the someone to make a request of you. So there's that. And then there's also just really cultivating healthy boundaries. Right? Cultivating healthy boundaries around yourself so that you have kind of a loving, soft, but firm energetic field around you. Because then you'll start getting less and less requests that feel like encroachments or breaches of a boundary. So there's just boundary setting that's so important. And there's the ability to say no when needed, an empowered no. You can give an explanation, an empowered explanation, or not. But you don't need to make a bunch of excuses and rationalizations and reasons. Just be empowered. So then we have just the general holding of space, which is kind of like a boundary that just comes from the embodiment of one's power. So I like to use the example there of like a child who obeys a certain adult without that adult doing anything different than the other adults. Like, the child just obeys this person because they have a natural authority, right? We've all seen that, like the kind of people who, without having to say anything or do anything or set a boundary or draw a line in the sand, are able to kind of just organically attract a respectful, respected conduct from other people. So we can all hone that ability to be in our power through the holding of our space. So lots of things there to think about. Our electromagnetic frequency, our authenticity, our truth and our greatness, our ability to say no, our ability to hold boundaries, and our ability to hold space, and our ability to simply, be that shining diamond. Also, finally, to place great importance on ourselves without that being an arrogant, entitled thing. Just, I am important, I matter. And then to show up in the world as if you matter and know that you can set the terms for your environment. You have the personal power to make a difference in the environment around you, within your family, your cultural sphere, any context you might find yourself in. So know that you have tremendous power, shine like the diamond that you are, and enjoy your life as a profoundly empowered person. You have tremendous power, and don't ever forget it. Thank you. Goodbye.